All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Southern Power. So a question that I commonly get asked by both people that are new to bodybuilding and people that are familiar with bodybuilding is, how does the IFBB judging system work? So in this video, I'm going to try to break down the IFBB judging and explain to you guys how the judging and scoring works at an IFBB Pro show. So technically there are 2 rounds in an IFBB show. Many of you know this. This is the pre-judging and then the finals. Now the pre-judging itself consists of 2 rounds. So round 1 in the pre-judging is often referred to as the Symmetry Round, and this is going to be the quarter turn round. So this is when you see the bodybuilder appear in a front relaxed pose. They've got their arms at their sides, and the judge asks them to hit the quarter turns and see them from every single angle, but without flexing their muscles. So they don't do the mandatories in round 1. Now, the reason they do this relaxed posing round, it's not actually to single out symmetry. The reason they do it is because when a bodybuilder poses, even during the mandatory poses, a bodybuilder knows how to pose to hide their flaws. But when they are forced to stand relaxed and hit quarter turns, it's very, very hard for them to cover up a weak point or cover up a flaw. So it's very vulnerable for the bodybuilder, and the judge can easily see any imbalances, any flaws, anything the bodybuilder might be trying to hide that they could hide with a posing round. So round 2 of the pre-judging is the mandatory posing round. So the point in separating the posing and the relaxed round is the same point that I mentioned before, is you can hide some things with posing that you can't hide with standing relaxed, but at the same time, there are details that you can bring out when posing that can't be seen when you're standing relaxed. So these 2 rounds need to be divided into 2 different categories, so that the judge can draw as much information about the physique as possible by dividing this into 2 different rounds and seeing 2 different variations of the physique, both relaxed and flexed. So what key elements is a judge looking for during these 2 rounds? Number 1 is going to be obviously muscularity. So the overall muscle mass that the bodybuilder carries. How big is that bodybuilder muscle-wise? The second thing they're going to be looking for is the overall definition. How defined is that bodybuilder? How conditioned is that bodybuilder? How lean is that bodybuilder? How detailed is that bodybuilder? That's what definition means. Definition is going to be shown by, the separation between the muscles, the detail that you can see, the cuts, the tie-ins, all those little minutia of the muscle that you can see in a conditioned bodybuilder. That's what you will see when you're looking for definition. They're also going to be looking for proportion. Now, proportion is the balance of muscular development. So you don't want your arms to be too big for your chest. You don't want to have a big chest and no arms. So how balanced are your muscles relative to other muscle groups? That is what proportion means. They're also going to be looking for symmetry. Now, symmetry basically means how even each side of the body is. So one bicep is not bigger than the other bicep. One pec is not bigger than the other pec. One leg is not more defined than the other leg, something like that. They're looking for the left and the right sides to have equal development, or as equal development as possible. And finally, you're going to have stage presence or presentation, which is what I'm going to talk about later. That is what they judge in the finals round of bodybuilding. So round 3 is essentially the presentation round. This is going to be when the bodybuilder does their individual routine at the final show. It presents their body in a way they think is the best way to present it, where they can hide their flaws, they can pose to highlight their strengths, and present the body the way they want it to be seen. So then that's where they're going to be judged on overall presentation and stage presence. So how is the bodybuilding show actually objectively judged? So it's judged in the form of numbers. So it's a lot like golf, and the lowest number is the best number. So the person with the lowest score is the winner. So on the panel of judges, there's typically anywhere from 5 to 9 judges, so regular judges and a head judge. So in the case of 9 judges, 1 high score and 1 low score can be thrown out to try to eliminate bias. So if there's a judge that doesn't like a competitor, gives them an extremely low score, that score can be thrown out to kind of eliminate bias, and they add those scores together. So for reference, for an example, let's look at the 2017 Mr. Olympia scorecard. Phil Heath received a score of 5 at the prejudging and a score of 5 at the finals. So let's say there were 7 judges. So you throw out 1 high score and 1 low score. So that means all 5 scores that were kept had a first place vote for Phil Heath. So Phil Heath got a perfect score. So a perfect score in bodybuilding is when a judge gives you a score of 1, and then all the other judges also give you a score of 1. So the score of 5 means that all the judges voted for first place for Phil Heath. So then if you look at the scores of Big Ramy and William Bonac, you had William Bonac, who took 3rd with a total score of 27, and Big Ramy with a total score of 25, and he took 2nd. So you can see how close William Bonac and Big Ramy were by just 2 points from their total score separating that placing. So the judges were definitely mixed up on who was going to be number 2 and who was going to be number 3 with their votes. So the vote that they give is essentially the placing that they would place that competitor. Then they add up all those votes, and then that totals the score. So I hope this video maybe cleared up a little bit for you guys on how bodybuilding is really judged. I know it can be a little bit confusing and a little bit hard to understand if you're new to bodybuilding, so I wanted to make this video to clear that up for some of you guys. Please give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Nick Strength and Power, signing out.